When Alma Park's car crashed into the marble steps of Seoul's most exclusive hotel, she had no idea she was about to shatter the iron walls around Korea's most feared man's heart. Ryu Seo-jun hadn't touched a woman in 10 years, not since the night flames stole his wife and unborn child from the very hotel he now ruled with ruthless precision. But as blood dripped from this stranger's palm, something inside him cracked, and for the first time in a decade, he reached out his hand. What Alma didn't know was that her ex-husband had already sold her location to Seo-jun's deadliest enemy, a man who'd spent 10 years plotting the perfect revenge. Now she and her 7-year-old son were trapped between a mafia boss learning to love again and a killer determined to destroy everything Seo-jun dared to protect. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing a powerful man can do is show the world what he's willing to die for. Subscribe and comment if you think love is worth risking everything, because this story is about to prove that the heart is both the strongest weapon and the most fragile target. The espresso machine hissed and died. Steam curled from its silver mouth, while Alma Park stared at the red warning light. She pressed the reset button 3 times. Nothing. "Mama, the man wants his coffee," EJ whispered from his corner table. Alma glanced at the businessman tapping his watch. She turned to the backup machine. Its cord hung loose from the wall. Her stomach tightened. 2 minutes, she called to the customer. The cafe manager emerged from the storage room. His eyes found the broken machine. "This is the 3rd breakdown this month. I can fix it," Alma said. Her voice was steady. "Just need new gaskets." "Gaskets cost money. Your shift hours might get cut." Alma felt the words hit her chest. She nodded once and turned back to the working machine. The customer drummed his fingers on the counter. EJ arranged his crayons in perfect lines, red, blue, green, yellow, always the same order. His dark hair fell over his eyes as he colored a house with smoke coming from the chimney. The rent notice crinkled in Alma's apron pocket. 3 days late. The landlord had called twice yesterday. She steamed the milk and poured it carefully. The businessman left without tipping. Alma wiped down the counter and watched EJ color. His house grew larger with each stroke. "Time to go home, baby," she said. EJ packed his crayons into the metal box. He slipped his small hand into hers. They walked through the evening crowd toward their apartment building. The streetlights flickered once, then twice. Alma felt EJ's grip tighten around her fingers. She squeezed back. Luis waited by their stairwell. His jacket was wrinkled. His eyes were red. He stepped forward when he saw them. "We need to talk," he said. "No." Alma moved EJ behind her. "You're not supposed to be here." "I've got debts, Alma, bad ones. You know what that means. It means you leave us alone." Luis grabbed her wrist. His fingers pressed into her skin. "You think you can just disappear, take my son, and act like I don't exist? Let go. I need money. 5,000. Tonight." EJ made a small sound behind her. Alma twisted free and pulled him closer. "I don't have 5,000, she said. "I don't have 500. Then find it. Or I start making visits to your work, your building, your kids' school." The streetlights went out. Emergency power kicked in across the block. Car alarms started wailing in the distance. "Blackout," Luis muttered. He looked around the darkened street. "This isn't over." He walked away into the shadows. Alma's breath came short and fast. She pulled out her phone and called her friend Maya. "Can EJ and I stay with you tonight?" she asked. "Of course. Take a cab." "It's not safe with the power out." Alma hailed a rideshare through her app. The driver looked nervous as they climbed in. Streets were clogged with stalled traffic. Emergency vehicles screamed past them. "Hotel districts got backup power," the driver said. "Sticking to those routes." Rain started falling. Light at first, then heavier. The driver turned too fast around a corner. The car hit a slick patch and spun sideways. Alma grabbed EJ and held him tight. The car bumped over a curb and stopped against marble steps. Steam rose from the hood. "Everyone okay?" the driver asked. Alma checked EJ. No cuts, no bruises, just wide, scared eyes. "We're fine," she said. She helped EJ out of the car. Rain soaked through her jacket in seconds. Above them, warm light spilled from tall windows. Golden letters on glass doors read, "Hotel Ryu." The driver was already on his phone with the insurance company. Alma looked at her scraped palm. Blood mixed with rainwater. EJ tugged her jacket. He pointed at the hotel doors. "Just until the rain stops," she said. The automatic doors slid open. Warmth wrapped around them as they stepped inside. The lobby was marble and soft lighting. A few guests sat in leather chairs. Music played quietly from hidden speakers. Everything was clean and expensive. A security guard approached them. His uniform was pressed. His face was polite, but firm. "Can I help you?" he asked. "Car accident outside," Alma said. "Could we wait here until—" She stopped. The lobby had gone quiet. Every head turned toward the elevators. A man stepped out. Tall, dark suit, silver tie. His hair was combed back perfectly. His face was sharp angles and controlled expression. When he walked, people moved aside without being asked. His eyes found Alma first, then EJ, then the blood on her palm. He spoke to the concierge without looking away from them. His voice was low and clear. "Get the doctor, private clinic, now." "Sir, they're not guests," the security guard started. "Now," the man repeated. Alma felt something shift in the air, fear mixed with curiosity. This was not a man who heard no often. "We don't need a doctor," she said. "Just somewhere to wait." The man's eyes met hers. They were dark brown and completely steady. "You're bleeding. Your son is frightened. You need help. I can take care of my son. I'm sure you can. But you don't have to. Not here. Not tonight." A woman in a neat grey dress approached. She was older, maybe 55. Her smile was gentle. "I'm Madame Choi," she said. "I manage the hotel floors. Would you like me to prepare a room where you can rest?" Alma looked at EJ. His eyes were still wide. His small body was trembling. "Just until the rain stops," she said again. The tall man gestured toward a hallway. "The clinic is private. Your son can stay with you." "What's your name?" Alma asked. He paused for a heartbeat. "Seo-jun, Ryu Seo-jun." Recognition hit her. Not his face, but his name. Whispered conversations at the cafe. News reports that got cut short. He owned this hotel. He owned much more than that. "No," she said. She grabbed EJ's hand. "We'll wait outside." "In the rain? With your son?" "Yes." Seo-jun nodded once. His expression didn't change. "Then I'll have an umbrella brought to you. And towels. And a car when you're ready to leave." He turned away. Alma watched him walk toward the elevators. His shoulders were straight. His hands were steady. EJ tugged her jacket again. He pointed at the tall man, then made a sign with his fingers. "Safe." Alma felt her chest tighten. EJ rarely signed anymore, rarely communicated with anyone except her. "Mama," EJ whispered. "He has sad eyes." Alma looked at Seo-jun again. He was speaking quietly to Madame Choi. His face was controlled, but EJ was right. Something sad lived behind his steady expression. The clinic was down a side hallway. Soft lights, clean white surfaces. A doctor waited with a medical kit. "I can clean that cut," the doctor said. "Won't take long." Alma sat on the edge of the examination table. EJ stood close to her side. The doctor reached for her hand. "Wait," Seo-jun said from the doorway. Everyone stopped. "Give us the room," he said. "Sir, I should—" the doctor began. "Give us the room." The doctor left. So did the security guards. Only Madame Choi remained. Seo-jun rolled up his sleeves. He moved to the sink and washed his hands. His movements were precise and careful. "I can do this myself," Alma said. "I know." He dried his hands on a clean towel. "But you're in my hotel, under my roof. That makes you my responsibility." He picked up the antiseptic bottle. His hands were large but gentle. When he touched her palm, his fingers barely trembled. Alma's breath caught. He was being so careful, so gentle. Why was he being gentle? EJ moved closer to the medical tray. Small glass stones were scattered across its surface. Go stones, Alma realized. Someone had left a game half finished. EJ began arranging them into a pattern, 5 stones in a cross. Seo-jun glanced at the pattern and nodded. "Safe," he said quietly. EJ looked up at him. Their eyes held for a moment. Then EJ nodded back. Seo-jun cleaned Alma's cut with steady hands. The antiseptic stung, but his touch was careful, professional, almost tender. "You do this often?" she asked. "Not anymore." "When did you stop?" His hands paused. 10 years ago. Alma felt something heavy in those words. Loss, grief, the kind that changed everything. Sirens wailed outside, getting closer. Madame Choi checked her phone and frowned. "Security says there's a man asking about you," she said to Alma. "At the loading dock. Matches the description you gave. Luis." Alma felt her stomach drop. "He followed us." "No," Seo-jun said. His voice was calm, final. "He didn't follow you here. He was already coming." Alma looked at him. "What does that mean?" "It means someone told him where to find you." The clinic door opened. A man in a dark suit entered. He was built strong and moved quietly. He nodded to Seo Jun. "Daemin," Seo Jun asked. "Two men by the service entrance. The woman's ex and someone else. They're asking questions." Alma stood up. "I need to leave. Now." "Where will you go?" Seo Jun asked. "Somewhere safe." "There is nowhere safe. Not tonight. Not with the power out and men hunting. I won't hide behind you. You won't. You'll stay behind walls I built to protect what matters." Alma felt anger rise in her chest. "You don't know what matters to me. Your son matters. His safety matters. Everything else is negotiable." EJ had finished his pattern with the go stones, a perfect 5-pointed star. He looked up at both adults and signed again. "Safe. One night," Seo Jun said. "26th floor. Private access only. No one gets near you without going through me and my people. What do you want in return?" "Nothing. Nobody gives protection for nothing." "I do." Alma studied his face. The sadness EJ had seen was deeper now, older. Whatever had happened 10 years ago still lived behind his eyes. "Why?" she asked. "Because I failed to protect someone once. I won't fail again." The sirens were louder now, closer. Madame Choi checked her phone again. "They're at the front entrance now," she said. Seo Jun's jaw tightened. "Take them up." "Sir," Damon started. "Take them up. Now. Full perimeter. No one gets past the 25th floor without my direct approval." Alma looked at EJ. His small face was tired and scared. She thought about their tiny apartment with its broken locks, about Luis and his debts and his threats. "One night," she said. "Then we leave." "One night," Seo Jun agreed. The elevator rose smoothly to the 26th floor. The doors opened onto a wide hallway with soft carpet and warm lighting. Madame Choi led them to a suite with 2 bedrooms and a sitting area. "Kitchen stocked," she said. "Private phone line. Panic button by each bed." EJ explored the rooms while Alma stood by the window. Seoul spread out below them in scattered pools of emergency light. The blackout had swallowed whole neighborhoods. "He'll sleep in my room," Alma said. "Of course. I'll bring extra pillows. And I want the inner doors unlocked. They don't lock from the outside, only from within." Seo Jun appeared in the doorway. He'd changed into dark jeans and a simple shirt. He looked younger without the suit, but no less dangerous. "Your friend downstairs is making demands," he said. "Luis? He says you kidnapped his son. Says he'll call the police if we don't produce you immediately." Alma felt cold. He signed away his rights. "We have papers." "Papers don't stop desperate men, especially when they're being paid to make noise." "Paid by who?" "Someone who wants my attention. Someone who thinks threatening you will draw me out into the open." Alma sank into a chair. The day was catching up with her. Broken machines, rent notices, Luis, the accident. Now this. EJ appeared beside her with a glass of water. He'd filled it from the kitchen tap. His eyes were still wide, but calmer now. "Thank you, baby," she said. Seo Jun watched them. His expression was soft now, unguarded. "How long since he spoke?" he asked. 6 months. Since the last time Luis showed up drunk at our door. He'll speak again." "How do you know?" "Because he feels safe enough to arrange go stones. That's communication. The voice comes back when the fear goes away." Rain drummed against the windows. Alma pulled EJ closer and felt the day's exhaustion settle into her bones. "I'll be downstairs," Seo Jun said. "Madame Choi will stay on this floor. If you need anything, just ask." "Why are you doing this?" He paused at the door. His back was straight, shoulders tense. "Because 10 years ago I couldn't keep someone safe. Tonight I can." The door closed softly behind him. Alma helped EJ brush his teeth and get ready for bed. He curled up under the covers with one of the go stones clutched in his small fist. "Are we safe, Mama?" he whispered. "Yes," she said. "We're safe." But as she sat in the dark watching him sleep, Alma wondered what price they'd pay for that safety, and whether the man guarding them was protection or just another kind of danger. Below them, Seoul's lights flickered back on neighborhood by neighborhood, but the 26th floor remained sealed and quiet, a sanctuary built by a man who spoke of failure and protection in the same breath. Outside in the alley, 2 figures stood in the shadows. One pointed up at the hotel's lit windows. The other pulled out a phone and dialed. "He took the bait," the voice said. "She's inside, 26th floor, just confirm what I need to know." The phone clicked off. The men melted back into the darkness. The trap was set. Dawn came gray and reluctant. The blackout was over, but the city moved slowly. Traffic crawled through intersections where signals had reset. Coffee shops served cold drinks while their machines warmed up. Alma woke to EJ's gentle shaking. He pointed toward the door where voices murmured in the hallway. Time to go, she whispered. She packed their few things quickly. EJ helped by folding his extra shirt and placing the go stone carefully in his pocket. Madame Choi knocked softly. "Breakfast?" she asked. "We need to leave," Alma said. "Mr. Ryu would like to speak with you first." "I'm sure he would." They walked to the elevator. Daimeen stood by the controls. He was built solid and moved with quiet precision. When he looked at EJ, his expression softened slightly. 25th floor, he said. The doors opened onto a private kitchen. Seo Jun stood at the stove cooking ramyeon. The smell filled the air. Simple, comforting. "Hungry?" he asked without turning around. "We can't stay," Alma said. "Because you're afraid of me or afraid of depending on me?" The question stopped her. She watched him crack eggs into the pot. His movements were practiced and sure. "Both," she said. "Fair enough." He ladled noodles into 3 bowls. "But eat first, your son is thin." EJ's eyes were fixed on the food. When had he last eaten a full meal? Yesterday's cafe sandwich had been their only food. 10 minutes, Alma said. They sat at a small table by the window. EJ ate steadily and quietly. Seo Jun ate less and watched more. "Where will you go?" he asked. "Friends, family. Your friend Maya's apartment was broken into last night. Windows smashed, furniture overturned." Alma's spoon clattered against her bowl. "How do you know about Maya?" "Because I know about the people who matter to you. Because those people are now targets. Luis is a tool. Someone else is holding the handle." EJ had stopped eating. His eyes moved between the adults. Fear was creeping back into his expression. "Who?" Alma asked. "Someone who wants something from me. Someone who thinks hurting you will make me careless." "Will it?" Seo Jun met her eyes. "Yes." The honesty in that single word hit her harder than any threat. He cared. Somehow in one night this dangerous man had started to care. "I won't be anyone's weakness," she said. "Then be my strength." Alma felt her chest tighten. "That's not how this works." "How what works?" "Protection, safety. You don't get to decide what's best for us." "You're right." He pushed his bowl away. "So decide. Leave now and let them follow you until you're tired and alone and cornered. Or stay here where I can keep you alive while we end this properly." "End what?" "The threat, the fear, the running." EJ placed his small hand on Alma's arm. He looked between her and Seo Jun with serious eyes. Then he pointed to the window, where Sol stretched out busy and bright, and shook his head. He pointed to their table with its warm food and gentle voices, and nodded. Here was safe. Out there was not. "One more day," Alma said. "But I want rules, clear boundaries. Name them." "I don't take orders from you or your people. EJ's care decisions are mine alone, and if I want to leave, we leave. No arguments." "Agreed." "Just like that?" "Protection without consent is just another kind of prison. I won't build cages for people I'm trying to keep safe." Alma studied his face. The sadness was still there, but something else too. Hope, maybe, or hunger for something he'd lost long ago. "Why did you stop touching people?" she asked. His hands stilled on the table. "Because the last person I touched died in my arms." The words hung heavy between them. EJ finished his ramyun and began arranging chopsticks into neat parallel lines. "Your wife," Alma said. It wasn't a question. "My wife, my unborn daughter, in a hotel fire 10 years ago this spring." "I'm sorry. I couldn't reach them. The smoke, the heat. I failed." Alma felt tears prick her eyes. Not for him, but for the pain that lived so deep it had carved away 10 years of human touch. "That's why the hotel," she said. "The security, the rules. I built walls high enough and strong enough that nothing could burn through. But walls keep things out and in." "Yes." EJ had finished his pattern. He looked up at Seo Jun and signed something Alma didn't recognize. "What did he say?" Seo Jun asked. "I don't know that sign." Seo Jun smiled slightly, the first real smile she'd seen from him. He said, "Thank you for breakfast. You know sign language? I know many things that might be useful someday." Damien appeared in the doorway. His expression was tense. "Sir, we need you downstairs." Seo Jun stood. The careful control slipped back over his features. "What is it?" "Fire alarm test in the building next door. Full evacuation. Someone's mapping our response protocols." Alma felt cold understanding creep through her. "They're learning how you react." "Yes." "So they can plan something bigger." "Yes." EJ had gone still and quiet. He pressed closer to Alma's side. "I want to leave," she said, "and now. Where you go, they follow. Where they follow, innocent people get hurt. So what? I stay here forever? You stay here until there's no one left to follow you." The words were spoken quietly, but Alma heard the steel beneath them. Violence, finality, the kind of solution men others feared when they needed problems to disappear. "I won't be responsible for people getting hurt," she said. "You're not responsible. You're the target. There's a difference." EJ tugged her sleeve and pointed toward the elevator. He wanted to go back to their safe room, away from the adult tensions and dangerous words. "Take us back up," Alma said. Seo-jun nodded to Damon. The elevator rose smoothly to the 26th floor, but as the doors opened, Alma saw security guards positioned at intervals down the hallway. "You've locked us in," she said. "I've locked everyone else out." The distinction felt thin. Alma guided EJ to their suite and closed the door behind them. Through the window, she could see police cars around the neighboring building. Fire trucks lined the street. A test, a probe. Someone was pushing at Seo-jun's defenses to see how he'd respond, and she and EJ were sitting right in the middle of it. The phone by the bed rang once. Alma let it go to the hotel's voice system. A message appeared on the small screen. "We know you're there. Come down alone and the boy doesn't get hurt." Alma felt her blood freeze. She checked the locks on both doors and pulled EJ away from the windows. This wasn't about Luis anymore. This wasn't about money or custody or desperate threats. This was about war, and somehow she'd become the weapon someone was using to fight it. The 26th floor was supposed to be sanctuary, but sanctuaries, she was learning, could become prisons just as easily. And the man who'd promised to protect them was the same man who'd painted targets on their backs just by caring. Alma looked at EJ. He was arranging go stones again, this time in a defensive pattern around his small stuffed animal. Safe, he'd signed earlier. But safe, Alma was beginning to understand, was relative, and the price of safety was often higher than the danger it replaced. Outside, Seoul pulsed with normal life. Inside, on the 26th floor of Hotel Ryu, 3 people waited for whatever came next. The trap had been set. The bait had been taken. Now all that remained was to see who would be caught when it finally snapped shut. Morning light filtered through the hotel suite's windows. Alma woke to silence. Not the normal silence of their small apartment, but the deep quiet of thick walls and careful security. EJ was already awake. He sat by the window watching the city come alive below. His small hands held the go stone like a talisman. "Hungry?" Alma asked. He nodded and pointed toward the door. Madame Choi had left a breakfast tray outside their suite. Fresh fruit, soft bread, juice for EJ. A note in careful handwriting. "Mr. Ryu is in meetings until noon. Please make yourselves comfortable." Alma felt relief and disappointment in equal measure. Relief that she didn't have to navigate his intense presence this morning. Disappointment that surprised her with its strength. "Just us today," she told EJ. They ate quietly at the small table. Through the window, Seoul looked normal. Traffic moved. People walked. Life continued outside their sealed sanctuary. But Alma couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Protected, yes, but also contained. EJ finished his juice and began arranging the fruit pieces into patterns. Apple slices in a circle, orange segments radiating out, a sun made of food. "That's beautiful," Alma said. EJ looked up at her and smiled. A real smile, the first in weeks. Her breath caught. How long since she'd seen him truly happy? A soft knock interrupted the moment. Daimeen stood in the hallway with 2 other men in dark suits. "Mrs. Park, we need to discuss some protocols." "What kind of protocols?" "Safety measures, procedures, things you need to know if you're staying." "We're not staying. This is temporary." "Of course. But while you're here, there are rules that keep everyone alive." Alma felt something tighten in her chest. "Whose rules?" "Mr. Ryu's house rules. They've kept this place safe for 10 years. EJ had stopped eating. He was listening to the adult conversation with worried eyes. "What happens if we don't follow the rules?" Alma asked. "Nothing happens. The rules exist for your protection, not your control." "Show me." Damien led them through the private floor. Emergency exits, communication systems, panic buttons. Everything was clean and efficient. No detail overlooked. "Mr. Ryu designed all of this," Damien said. "After the fire. He doesn't take chances with people's safety." "The fire that killed his wife." "Yes." They passed a small room filled with security monitors. Screens showed every angle of the building. Streets, lobbies, corridors, even the rooftop. "We see everything," Damien said. "Nothing happens here without us knowing." Alma spotted movement on one screen. A man in a maintenance uniform working near the service elevators. Something about his movements seemed wrong. Too careful. Too aware. "Who's that?" she asked. Damien looked at the screen and frowned. He spoke into his radio in rapid Korean. "Probably nothing," he said, "but we check everything." They returned to the suite. EJ had grown quiet again. The morning's happiness had faded back into watchfulness. "Are we prisoners?" Alma asked Daimin. "No. You can leave any time, mister. Ryu says it's safe. What if I decide it's safe? Then you leave, and we pray you're right." Alma felt anger rise in her chest. "I don't need your prayers. I need my freedom." "Freedom to do what? Get your son killed by men you can't see or fight?" The words hit hard because they were true. Alma had no weapons, no training, no way to protect EJ from whatever was hunting them, but accepting protection felt too much like surrendering control. "I want to see him," she said. "Seo Jun. Now." "He's in meetings." "Then I'll wait." Damien studied her for a moment. Something shifted in his expression. Respect, maybe. "He'll be in the kitchen at 1 o'clock, making lunch. He cooks. He cleans. He does normal things when he can. It keeps him human." Alma felt something soften in her chest. The idea of the feared Mafia boss doing normal, human things was oddly comforting. At 1 o'clock, she and EJ rode the elevator to the private kitchen. Seo Jun stood at the counter chopping vegetables. His jacket was gone, his sleeves were rolled up. He looked younger in the afternoon light. "You wanted to see me," he said without turning around. "I want to establish boundaries." "What kind of boundaries?" "The kind that let me feel human instead of caged." Seo Jun set down his knife and faced her. His eyes found hers and held steady. "Tell me what you need," he said. "I need to make decisions about my son. I need to come and go from our room without guards following. I need to know that staying here is my choice, not your requirement." "Agreed. Just like that. Just like that. What else?" Alma felt off balance. She'd expected argument, negotiation, not immediate agreement. "I need to know what's really happening. Who's threatening us and why?" "That's more complicated. Try me." EJ wandered to the counter where vegetables were laid out in neat piles. He began sorting them by color. Seojun watched him work with gentle eyes. "There's a man named Kang Min-sik," Seojun said. "He wants something I have. Territory, respect, fear. The usual things men fight over. What does that have to do with us? You became important to me. That made you valuable to him." "Important how?" Seojun paused. His hands stilled on the cutting board. "I don't know yet," he said, "but you are. You and your son. More than you should be after one night." Alma felt her pulse quicken. "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer I have." EJ had finished sorting vegetables. He looked up at Seojun and pointed to the red peppers. "Those are his favorites," Alma said. Seojun nodded and handed EJ a small red pepper to hold. EJ examined it carefully, then took a tiny bite. His face lit up with surprise. "Sweet," he whispered. Both adults froze. EJ had spoken. One word, but clearly and intentionally. "Yes," Seojun said quietly. "Very sweet." EJ smiled and took another bite. Then he offered the pepper to Alma. "Sweet," he said again. Alma felt tears prick her eyes. Her son was speaking. After months of silence, he was finding his voice in this strange, dangerous place. "Thank you," she said to Seojun. "For what?" "For making him feel safe enough to talk. He was already brave. He just needed the right moment." They cooked together. Simple things. Rice, vegetables, mild soup for EJ. Seojun moved with practiced efficiency. His hands were gentle when he helped EJ wash lettuce. "You're good with children," Alma said. "I was going to be a father once." The words hung between them, heavy with loss and might-have-beens. "Tell me about her," Alma said. "Your wife." "Min-jung. She was a teacher, kindergarten. She could make anyone feel safe. She would have been a good mother." "Yes." They ate at the small table. EJ chattered quietly about the food, the cooking, the way Seojun had shown him to arrange herbs. His voice was soft but clear. Alma watched Seojun listen, really listen, the way few adults bothered to listen to children. "You miss being a father," she said. "I miss having a future that included small voices and bedtime stories. Those things still exist. Not for me." "Why not?" Seojun set down his chopsticks. His eyes were dark and distant. "Because the man I've become doesn't deserve gentle things." "That's not your choice to make, isn't it?" "No. Deserving is something other people decide, usually the people who care about you." EJ had finished eating. He climbed down from his chair and approached Seojun's side. Without warning, he placed his small hand on Seojun's arm. "Nice man," EJ said clearly. Seojun went very still. His breath caught. For a moment, Alma thought he might cry. Instead, he placed his larger hand gently over EJ's small one. "Thank you," he said. The afternoon stretched quiet and warm. They moved to the rooftop garden where herbs and small trees grew in careful rows. EJ explored while Alma and Seo-jun sat on a bench overlooking the city. "This was her idea," Seo-jun said. "The garden. Min-jung said hotels should have growing things. Life among all the stone and steel. It's beautiful. It's the only part of this place that feels like home." Alma watched EJ crouch beside a small orange tree. He was talking to himself, naming colors and shapes. His voice was getting stronger with each word. "He's healing," she said. "So are you. I wasn't broken. Everyone's broken somewhere. The trick is finding people who don't mind the sharp edges." Alma felt something shift in her chest. This dangerous man who spoke of protection and loss was gentle in ways she hadn't expected. "Why haven't you touched anyone in 10 years?" she asked. "Because touch creates connection. Connection creates vulnerability. Vulnerability creates loss. That's not living, that's just existing. Existing is safer." "Safer for who?" Seo-jun didn't answer. He watched EJ chase a butterfly between the herb rows. His expression was soft and hungry at the same time. A phone buzzed. Damon's voice came through the speaker. "Sir, you need to see this." They went back inside to the security room. Multiple screens showed the same image. A man talking to Luis outside a gambling den. The man was older, well-dressed, confident. "Kang Min-sik," Seo-jun said. "What are they doing?" "Making a deal. Luis gets money to keep pressure on you. Min-sik gets information about our responses." On the screen, Luis accepted an envelope and shook hands with Min-sik. Then both men looked up at a nearby building and pointed. "They're mapping our routes," Damien said. "Learning how we move people safely." Alma felt cold understanding creep through her. "They're going to try to take us." "Not try," Seo-jun said. "They're going to succeed if we don't move first." "Move how?" "Remove the leverage. End Luis's usefulness to them." The way he said it made Alma's stomach tighten. She knew what remove meant in his world. "No," she said. "You don't hurt Luis because of me. Luis made his choice when he sold information about you and your son. He's desperate, scared. That doesn't deserve death. It deserves consequences." EJ had been listening from the doorway. His face was serious and worried. The brief joy from earlier was fading back into fear. "I want to go back to our room," Alma said. Seo-jun nodded to Daemin, who escorted them to the 26th floor. But as they walked down the hallway, Alma noticed new guards at each intersection. More cameras, thicker security. "You're building a fortress," she said. "I'm building a safe place for people I care about." The words hit her harder than they should have. People I care about. When had she become someone he cared about? In their suite, EJ arranged go-stones while Alma tried to process the day. Speaking, laughing, touching. EJ was coming back to life in this strange sanctuary. But outside, men were planning, mapping, preparing to take that safety away. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Madame Choi stood in the doorway with evening tea. "How are you settling in?" she asked. "We're not settling in. We're hiding. There's a difference?" Alma considered the question. "I think so. Hiding feels temporary. Settling feels like accepting. And accepting feels like giving up." "Yes." Madame Choi poured tea into delicate cups. Her movements were graceful and unhurried. "Mr. Ryu hasn't had guests on this floor for 10 years, she said. "You're the first people he's brought into his private spaces." "Why?" "Because you remind him that gentle things still exist." Alma felt her chest tighten. "We're not his salvation." "No. But you're proof that not everything beautiful gets destroyed." That evening, Seo-jun brought dinner to their suite. Simple food served on nice plates. He sat on the floor with EJ, teaching him a new go pattern. "This one means home," he said, arranging 5 stones in a tight cluster. EJ copied the pattern carefully. Then he looked up at Seo-jun and signed something. "What did he say?" Alma asked. "He asked if this is our home now." "What did you tell him?" "I told him home is where people take care of each other." EJ nodded seriously and arranged his stones into the home pattern. Then he placed Alma's hand and Seo-jun's hand on either side of the stones. Family, Alma realized. EJ was creating family from broken pieces. "He's getting attached to you," she said. "Is that bad?" "It is if you disappear when this is over." "I won't disappear." "How can you promise that?" Seo-jun met her eyes. "Because I'm getting attached too." The honesty in his voice made her breath catch. This was dangerous territory. Feelings and connections, and the kind of trust that could shatter everything. EJ fell asleep between them on the couch. His small body was relaxed and peaceful. One hand held a go stone, the other rested against Seo Jun's arm. "He trusts you completely," Alma said. "He trusts easily." "No, he doesn't. It took months for him to trust me after Luis. But with you it happened in hours. Maybe he recognizes something." "What?" "Someone else who's been hurt." Alma studied Seo Jun's profile, the strong jaw, the careful control, the sadness that lived behind his eyes. "Tell me about the fire," she said. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then his voice came, low and careful. "It started in the kitchen. Delivery man brought contaminated fuel for the generators. Emergency lighting system failed. Smoke filled the corridors faster than anyone anticipated. Where were you?" "Downstairs, meeting with security. The alarms went off and I ran for our room, 28th floor." His hands tightened on his knees. The elevators were down. Stairwells were full of smoke. "I made it to 26 before the heat became too much." Alma felt tears prick her eyes. "You couldn't reach them. I could hear her calling my name. Through the smoke and the alarms I could hear Min Jung calling for help. It wasn't your fault. I built that hotel, I hired the security company, I approved the delivery protocols. Every safety failure was my failure. You can't control everything. I couldn't control the one thing that mattered most." EJ stirred in his sleep. His small hand gripped Seo Jun's arm tighter, as if sensing the adult's pain, even in dreams. "That's why you don't touch people," Alma said, "because touch means caring, and caring means risk. Yes, but you touched me. Yesterday when you cleaned my cut." "I know." "Why?" Seo Jun looked at her, really looked, as if seeing her for the first time. "Because you were bleeding, and for the first time in 10 years, someone else's pain mattered more than my fear." The words hung between them, heavy with truth and possibility, and the kind of dangerous honesty that changed everything. "Seo Jun." His radio crackled. Damon's voice was tense and urgent. "Sir, we have a problem. Fire alarm panel on 26 just flickered. Someone's testing our response protocols." Seo Jun stood carefully, not disturbing EJ. His face had gone cold and controlled. "How long?" he asked. "Started 30 seconds ago. Still active. Lock down the floor, no one in or out without my direct authorization." Alma felt fear creep up her spine. "What does it mean?" "It means they're learning how we react to emergencies, how fast we move, which protocols we follow, so they can plan something bigger." "Yes." EJ woke up. He looked around with sleepy confusion, then focused on the adults' tense faces. "Bad men?" he whispered. "No," Alma said quickly. "Everything's fine." But EJ's eyes were already filling with the familiar fear. The trust and peace of the last few hours were cracking. Seo Jun knelt beside the couch. He placed one gentle hand on EJ's shoulder. "Bad men can't reach you here," he said. "I promise." "How do you know?" "Because I've spent 10 years making sure of it." EJ studied his face for a long moment. Then he nodded and settled back against the cushions. "Will you stay?" he asked. Seo Jun looked at Alma. She saw the question in his eyes. Permission, boundaries, the careful dance of trust and protection. "Stay," she said. "Please." He settled into the chair across from them, close enough to provide comfort, far enough to respect space. The careful distance of a man relearning how to be present without being possessive. "Tell us a story," EJ said. "What kind of story?" "A good one, with happy endings." Seo Jun was quiet for a moment. Then he began speaking in his low, careful voice. "Once upon a time there was a little fox who lived in a garden." Alma listened to his voice, weave pictures of brave foxes and kind gardeners, and homes built from trust instead of walls. EJ's eyes grew heavy with sleep and safety. Outside, security cameras tracked movement in the shadows. Men with plans and phones mapped response times and weak points. But inside, on the 26th floor of Hotel Ryu, a makeshift family shared stories and protection and the fragile beginning of something that looked almost like home. The testing stopped. The alarms went quiet. But the threat remained, patient and calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. 3 days passed in careful routine. Breakfast together, lessons in the garden, quiet evenings with go-stones and stories. EJ's voice grew stronger each day. His laughter returned in small bursts of joy. Alma found herself watching Seo Jun more carefully, the way he listened to EJ's questions, the gentle patience he showed when teaching new words or games, the careful distance he maintained, even as his eyes grew warmer. "You're good at this," she said one morning, as EJ practiced writing Korean characters. "At what?" Being present without overwhelming, it's not an easy balance. I had a good teacher. Your wife? You? The simple answer caught her off guard. She felt something warm and dangerous bloom in her chest. I don't teach anything. You teach boundaries. Consent. How protection can exist without possession. EJ held up his paper proudly. He'd written his name in careful Korean letters. Beautiful work, Seo-jun said. Your mother will be proud. Are you proud? EJ asked. Yes. Very proud. EJ beamed and ran to show Alma his writing, but she'd heard something in that exchange. The way EJ looked to Seo-jun for approval, the way Seo-jun responded with genuine warmth. They were bonding, really bonding, and the thought terrified her almost as much as it comforted her. Damien appeared in the doorway. His expression was grim. Sir, Luis is here, at the front desk. Says he wants to sign custody papers. Alma felt her blood turn cold. He's lying. Of course he's lying, Seo-jun said. The question is what he's really here to do. They moved to the security room. Cameras showed Luis in the lobby, wearing a clean suit and nervous expression. He stood alone, hands visible, no obvious weapons. Where's Min-sik? Alma asked. Probably watching from a distance, Damien said, using Luis to test our responses. Seo-jun studied the screens carefully. I want to talk to him. Sir, I want to talk to him. Controlled environment. Full security. Find out what he really wants. No, Alma said. If you bring Luis up here, I want to be there. Absolutely not. He's my ex-husband. My problem. If there's going to be a conversation about EJ, I'm part of it. It's too dangerous. Everything about this situation is dangerous. At least let me have some control over how it unfolds. Seo-jun looked at her for a long moment. Something shifted in his expression. You don't trust me to handle this, he said. I trust you to protect us. I don't trust you to make decisions for us. The distinction seemed to hit him hard. He nodded slowly. Conference room, 25th floor, full security presence. Luis gets searched and scanned. Any sign of threat, he's removed immediately. Agreed. And EJ stays on 26 with Madam Choi. Agreed. They took the elevator down one floor. The conference room was sterile and efficient. Cameras in every corner, guards at every exit. Luis entered 10 minutes later. He looked tired and scared. His eyes darted around the room before settling on Alma. You look good, he said. Rested. What do you want, Luis? To sign papers. Give up my rights. Make this clean and legal. In exchange for what? Safe passage out of Seoul. Maybe out of Korea entirely. Alma studied his face. Fear was written in every line. Real fear, not the manufactured desperation he'd shown at their apartment. Who's threatening you? She asked. People with more power than sense. People who think I know things I don't. Seo-jun sat across from them. His presence was controlled but menacing. Luis avoided looking at him directly. What things? Seo-jun asked. Your routines, your security, how you move people safely. What did you tell them? Nothing useful. I don't know anything useful. But you took their money. Luis flinched. I needed the money. My debts. The people I owe don't negotiate. And now I'm caught between you and them. Either way, I'm dead unless I disappear completely. Alma felt an unwelcome stab of pity. Luis was weak and selfish, but he was also trapped and terrified. The papers, she said. Are they real? Luis pulled documents from his jacket. Legal forms, properly notarized. Full termination of parental rights. Sign them, Alma said. Then leave Seoul. Tonight. I can't just... Yes, you can. Seo-jun's voice was quiet and final. Sign the papers. Take the money I'll give you, get on a plane, never come back. What about Min-sik? Let me worry about Min-sik. Luis signed the papers with shaking hands. His signature was barely legible, but legally binding. There's something else, he said as he finished. Something you need to know. What? He's not just after you because of her. Luis gestured toward Alma. He's after you because of the anniversary. Seo-jun went very still. What anniversary? The fire. 10 years ago, next week. He's planning something for the exact date. Alma felt ice form in her stomach. What kind of something? I don't know, but he keeps talking about justice, about you paying for what you took from him. I never took anything from Min-sik. His brother, Luis said quietly. Kang Min-ho. He died in the hotel fire. The room went silent. Alma saw understanding and horror dawn on Seo-jun's face. Min-ho worked deliveries, Seo-jun said. He brought the contaminated fuel. Min-sik blames you for his death, says you should have had better protocols, better safety measures. He's right. No, Alma said sharply. "You're not responsible for other people's grief." But Seo-jun wasn't listening. He was staring at the table with the expression of a man facing old guilt and new danger. Luis stood awkwardly. "I should go. I've got a flight to catch." Damien escorted him out, but his words hung heavy in the air. Justice. Anniversary. A brother's death and a decade of rage. "This isn't about us," Alma said. "It's about revenge. It's about both. Min-sik wants to hurt me the way I hurt him, by taking away someone I love." The words slipped out before he could stop them. "Someone I love." Alma felt her heart skip. "Seo-jun, I know this is too fast and too dangerous and too complicated, but it's true." She reached across the table and placed her hand over his. His fingers were warm and slightly trembling. "We need to get EJ somewhere safe," she said. "He is safe. Here with us, he's safe. For how long? Until Min-sik gets tired of planning? Until he finds a way past your security? I won't let him. You can't control everything." The words echoed his own confession about the fire. Seo-jun looked at their joined hands with something close to despair. "Then what do I do? You trust me. You trust us. And you let us help you figure this out together." Before he could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the building. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Emergency announcements echoed from hidden speakers. Damien's voice crackled over the radio. "Sir! Service corridor breach! Someone's in the building! Madam Choi is down! I repeat, Madam Choi is down!" Seo-jun was moving before the words finished. Alma ran beside him toward the elevator. 26th floor, EJ. The elevator seemed to take forever. When the doors opened, they saw security guards at every intersection. Smoke hazers had activated, filling the hallways with artificial fog. "Where's EJ?" Alma shouted. "Sweet," Damien called back. "Madam Choi got him inside before—" A door slammed somewhere in the maze of corridors. Footsteps echoed from multiple directions. "How many?" Seo-jun asked. "At least 3, maybe more." They knew exactly which routes to take. They reached their suite. The door was locked from inside. Alma pounded on it. "EJ, it's Mama!" Silence. Then a small voice. "Mama?" "Yes, baby. Open the door." The lock clicked. EJ stood in the doorway with tears streaming down his face. Behind him, Madam Choi sat in a chair, holding a bloody cloth to her forehead. "They tried to take me," EJ said. "The bad men. But Madam Choi stopped them." Alma pulled him into her arms and felt his small body shaking. "You're safe," she whispered. "You're safe now." But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't true. The 26th floor had been breached. Their sanctuary was compromised. The war had found them. Red alarm lights strobed through the corridor. Smoke hazers hissed from hidden vents. The 26th floor had become a maze of shifting shadows and emergency signals. Alma pulled EJ closer, while Seo-jun checked Madam Choi's wound. Blood seeped through the older woman's fingers, but her eyes were alert and angry. "How many got past you?" Seo-jun asked. 3, maybe 4. They knew exactly where to go. Inside information. Had to be. They moved like they'd studied the blueprints. Damien's voice crackled over the radio. "Sir, we've sealed the stairwells, but they're somewhere between 25 and 26. Locations? Unknown. They're using the smoke and alarms as cover." Alma felt EJ's small body trembling against her. His brief return to speech was cracking under renewed fear. "We need to move," she said. "Where?" Seo-jun asked. "They're between us and every exit. The rooftop. Too exposed. Better than being trapped." Madam Choi struggled to stand. Seo-jun supported her with careful hands. "I can walk," she said, "but not fast. You don't walk anywhere. You stay here with 2 guards while we lead them away." "No," Alma said. "We stay together. If they want me, they can follow me. You and EJ remain here where it's defensible." "We stay together," Alma repeated. Her voice was steel wrapped in fear. As Seo-jun looked at her for a heartbeat, something passed between them. Trust. Partnership. The decision to face danger as a unit instead of fragments. "Together," he said. They moved as a group through the smoke-filled hallway. Seo-jun led, weapon drawn but held low. Alma kept EJ between herself and the walls. Madam Choi followed with Damien providing support. The emergency lighting cast strange shadows. Every sound seemed amplified. Footsteps. Breathing. The mechanical hiss of safety systems. They reached the elevator bank. Seo-jun pressed the call button. Nothing happened. "Systems locked down," Damien said. "Standard protocol during a breach. Override it." "I can't from here. Need to reach the security office." A voice echoed from somewhere ahead of them. Male, confident, speaking Korean with careful pronunciation. "Ryu Seo-jun." I know you can hear me. Seo Jun went very still. Alma felt the temperature in the hallway drop. Kang Min-sik, Seo Jun said quietly. 10 years I've waited for this conversation. 10 years of planning and patience. The voice seemed to come from multiple directions at once. Hidden speakers, intercoms. Min-sik had tapped into the building's communication system. I'm here, Seo Jun called back. Face to face, just you and me. Oh, it's not just you and me anymore, is it? You have new people to protect, new people to lose. Alma felt ice form in her stomach. EJ pressed closer against her legs. They have nothing to do with this, Seo Jun said. They have everything to do with this. The woman who made you weak, the child who made you hope. My brother died because of your failures. Now you'll understand what it feels like to lose everything. A fire door slammed somewhere behind them, then another. They were being herded. The service stairs, Damon said. They're cutting off our exits. How many ways out? Alma asked. 3. All blocked now. Seo Jun's jaw tightened. His eyes found Alma's. The roof access, he said. Emergency ladder, but we have to reach the north corridor. They turned toward the corridor junction. Emergency lights flickered overhead. The smoke was getting thicker. EJ tugged Alma's shirt. When she looked down, he pointed to his ears and shook his head. Too loud? She asked. He nodded and covered his ears with small hands. The alarms were overwhelming his sensitive hearing. Seo Jun noticed. Without a word, he pulled out his phone and called security. Kill the audio alarms, lights only. The wailing sirens cut off instantly. EJ lowered his hands and looked up at Seo Jun with grateful eyes. Better? Seo Jun asked. EJ nodded and took his hand. They moved forward again. The corridor stretched ahead of them, lined with doors and emergency equipment. Everything looked normal, except for the smoke and red lighting. A door opened 20 feet away. Min-sik stepped out. He was smaller than Alma had expected. Mid-40s, well-dressed, cold eyes. He held a gun pointed at the floor. Finally, he said, a proper introduction. Seo Jun moved protectively in front of Alma and EJ. You have me. Let them go. Let them go? But they're the whole point. Min-sik's eyes found Alma. The woman who melted the ice around your heart. The child who made you remember what you lost. Please, Alma said. He's just a little boy. So was my brother's son. The nephew who never got to meet his uncle because of this man's negligence. Min-sik raised the gun, not at Seo Jun but toward EJ. Everything happened in slow motion. Alma pushed EJ behind her. Seo Jun lunged forward. Min reached for his weapon. But another door opened. Luis stumbled out looking terrified and confused. I did what you asked, Luis called to Min-sik. I brought them here. Now let me go. Min-sik turned slightly. You did well, but I'm afraid you know too much to walk away. The gun swung toward Luis instead. A diversion, a tactical error. Seo Jun moved like water. 2 steps, low and fast. His shoulder caught Min-sik in the chest. They went down together in a controlled fall. The gun skittered across the floor. Damien secured it while Seo Jun pinned Min-sik with precise pressure points. It's over, Seo Jun said. Is it? Min-sik smiled despite the pain. Look around you. Alma realized what he meant. Fire doors had sealed automatically. Smoke was thickening from multiple sources. The building's safety systems were working against them. You triggered a real emergency, she said. Smart woman. Yes, I triggered multiple fire alerts. The building is going into full lockdown, just the way it did 10 years ago. Seo Jun's face went pale. The same protocols, the same failures. History repeating itself with perfect precision. The elevator behind them dinged. The doors opened to reveal 3 more men in maintenance uniforms. Not rescuers, more attackers. Sir, Damien called, we have a problem. But Seo Jun wasn't listening. He was staring at Min-sik with the expression of a man facing his worst nightmare made real. You're recreating the fire, he said. Every detail, every system failure, every moment of helplessness you felt that night. Alma felt her breath catch. She looked at EJ, who was pressed against the wall with frightened eyes. Except this time, Min-sik continued, you get to watch them die slowly, the way I watched my brother. The maintenance men approached with weapons drawn. Luis cowered against a door, sobbing apologies. Seo Jun's hands tightened on Min-sik's arms. For a moment, Alma saw something dangerous flicker in his eyes. 10 years of grief and rage looking for an outlet. Do it, Min-sik whispered. Kill me. Show her what you really are. Seo Jun's muscles tensed. His breathing went shallow and controlled. Then EJ spoke. Don't hurt him. The small voice cut through the tension. Everyone turned to look at the 7-year-old standing by the wall. He's sad, EJ said clearly. Like you were sad. Hurting him won't make the sad go away. Alma felt tears prick her eyes. Her son, traumatized and afraid, was showing more wisdom than any of the adults. Seo Jun looked at EJ, then at Alma. Something shifted in his expression. The rage cooled to controlled resolution. You're right, he said to EJ. Hurting him won't fix anything. He pulled zip-tie restraints from his jacket and secured Min-sik's hands. Professional, clean, no unnecessary violence. But keeping him from hurting other people will. The maintenance men hesitated. Without Min-sik's direct orders, they seemed uncertain. Damon spoke into his radio in rapid Korean. Within seconds, the corridor filled with hotel security. Real security, not disguised attackers. Sir, one of them reported. Building secure, we have control of all systems. Min-sik struggled against his restraints. This isn't over. Yes, it is, Seo Jun said. Your brother died in an accident. A tragedy, but not a murder. I've spent 10 years paying for that mistake. You've spent 10 years planning revenge that won't bring him back. It will bring justice. No, it will just create more pain. Alma stepped forward. She knelt beside Min-sik where he lay on the floor. I'm sorry about your brother, she said. I'm sorry you lost someone you loved, but hurting us won't heal that loss. Min-sik stared at her. Some of the fury drained from his eyes, replaced by exhaustion and grief. He was all the family I had, he said quietly. I know. Losing family destroys something inside you, but destroying other families won't rebuild what you lost. Then what will? Time. Forgiveness. Choosing to help people instead of hurting them. Min-sik closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the fight had gone out of him. 10 years, he whispered. 10 years of hate. 10 years you can't get back, Alma said, but you can choose what the next 10 years look like. Security led Min-sik and his men away. Luis signed additional papers, terminating all claims, and left under escort. The emergency systems reset to normal operations. But the 26th floor felt different now. Vulnerable. The sanctuary had been breached. We can't stay here, Alma said. No, Seo Jun agreed. We can't. Where do we go? Somewhere new. Somewhere we choose together. They gathered their few belongings. EJ packed his go stones carefully. Madame Choi had her head wound treated and insisted she was fine. Where will you look? She asked. A house, Seo Jun said, with a garden. Somewhere EJ can run and play safely. That sounds perfect, Madame Choi said. She smiled at Alma. He's learned well from you. Learned what? That protection and love aren't the same thing, but they can work together. In the elevator, EJ stood between Alma and Seo Jun. His small hands held one of each of theirs. Are we a family now? He asked. Alma looked at Seo Jun. His eyes were warm and hopeful and scared all at once. What do you think? She asked EJ. I think families are people who take care of each other. Then yes, she said. We're a family. The elevator opened onto the hotel lobby. Normal lighting, normal sounds, normal life continuing after extraordinary danger. But nothing felt normal anymore. Everything had changed in the space of hours. Fear had transformed into trust. Protection had become partnership. And 3 broken people had somehow become whole. They walked through the automatic doors into Seoul's bright morning. The city hummed with traffic and voices, and the endless energy of 8 million lives intersecting. Where to first? Seo Jun asked. Breakfast, EJ said decisively. Ramyeon, Alma laughed. The sound surprised her with its lightness. Ramyeon it is, she said. They found a small cafe 6 blocks from the hotel. Nothing fancy or expensive, just clean tables and simple food, and the kind of ordinary peace that had seemed impossible hours earlier. Seo Jun ordered for all of them in quiet Korean. The server smiled at EJ and brought extra kimchi without being asked. This is nice, Alma said. Different from the hotel. Better, more real. EJ slurped his noodles and chattered about the morning's adventure. In his child's mind, they'd faced the bad men and won. Now they could have breakfast together. Simple, true, healing. Seo Jun was quiet through most of the meal. His eyes tracked the other customers, the street outside, the normal patterns of life continuing around them. Worried? Alma asked. Adjusting. I've spent 10 years in controlled environments. This feels vulnerable, free. The word hung between them. Free. From the hotel's walls, from past grief, from the careful distance he'd maintained to avoid loss. Freedom is scary, Alma said. Yes, but worth it. Ask me in a few months. EJ finished his noodles and began arranging his chopsticks. 2 parallel lines, perfect and neat. "Can we go to the park?" he asked. "Which park?" "Any park. I want to see the river." They paid for breakfast and walked toward Hangang Park. The spring air was warm and soft. Cherry trees were beginning to bloom along the sidewalks. "I used to bring Min-jung here," Seo-jun said as they approached the water. "Before we were married, we'd sit by the river and plan our future." "What did you plan?" "A house with a garden, children. Simple happiness. Those things are still possible. With you?" The question was quiet and careful. No pressure, no assumption. Just hope wrapped in vulnerability. Alma watched EJ run ahead to feed ducks by the water's edge. His laughter carried on the breeze. "I've been alone for a long time," she said. "Taking care of EJ, protecting him, making all the decisions. I'm not sure I know how to be part of a couple anymore. I've been alone for 10 years. I'm not sure I ever knew how. Maybe we can figure it out together. Maybe we can." They sat on a bench overlooking the river. EJ played nearby, close enough to watch, but far enough to feel independent. "What do you want?" Seo-jun asked. "Really want if you could have anything." "Safety for EJ, a home that feels permanent, work that matters, someone who sees me as a partner, not a possession. And for yourself? I want to stop being afraid, stop looking over my shoulder, stop thinking every good moment will be snatched away. I want that for you too. What do you want?" Seo-jun was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was soft and uncertain. "I want to touch you without flinching. I want to wake up next to someone who makes me glad to be alive. I want to hear children's voices in my house again. Those are good wants. They're terrifying wants. The best ones usually are." A breeze rustled the cherry blossoms above them. Petals drifted down onto the path where EJ was making patterns with fallen twigs. "Will you let me try?" Seo-jun asked. "Try what?" "Loving you properly, both of you, the way you deserve." Alma felt her breath catch. The question was everything she'd hoped for and everything she feared. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? She looked at him, really looked. The careful control was still there, but beneath it, she saw warmth and hope and the kind of quiet determination that rebuilt lives from broken pieces. "Okay," she said. "Yes, let's try." Seo-jun smiled, the first completely unguarded smile she'd seen from him. It transformed his entire face. He reached for her hand slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, his fingers closed gently around hers. "Is this okay?" he asked. "Yes. Good. Because I've wanted to hold your hand since the moment I bandaged your palm." They sat in comfortable silence, watching EJ play and soul flow past them. The city looked different in daylight, less dangerous, more full of possibility. "Where should we look for a house?" Alma asked. "Somewhere with good schools, safe neighborhoods, maybe near a park. Somewhere EJ can have friends. Somewhere we can have friends. Do you have friends?" "I had business associates, employees, people who feared or respected me, but not friends. I had Maya, a few people from work, but not many. Maybe we can start over, build a life with people who know us as we are, not as who we were." EJ ran back to them with a smooth river stone. He'd painted it with wet mud to make it striped. "Pretty," he said, offering it to Alma. "Beautiful. What is it?" "A promise stone. Like the go stones, but different." "What kind of promise?" EJ looked between the two adults solemnly. "Promise to stay together. Promise to be a family." Alma felt tears prick her eyes. "Is that what you want?" "Yes." "Then yes. We promise." Seo-jun took the stone and turned it over in his hands. "We promise," he said. They walked home slowly, taking detours through neighborhoods they might want to live in someday. EJ pointed out playgrounds and ice cream shops and stores that sold toys. "That one," he said, pointing to a small house with a walled garden. "I like that one." "It's pretty," Alma agreed, "but it might not be for sale." "We can ask." "We can ask." The afternoon stretched golden and peaceful. No threats, no alarms, no careful protocols. Just the ordinary rhythm of a family exploring their city together. By evening, they'd found a small hotel near the park. 2 connected rooms, nothing fancy, but clean and comfortable. EJ fell asleep quickly, exhausted by the day's adventures. Alma tucked him in and sat by his bed for a while, watching him breathe. "He looks peaceful," Seo-jun said from the doorway. "He does. How do you feel?" "Like I've been holding my breath for 10 years and can finally exhale." Alma stood and moved toward him. They were close now, close enough to touch, close enough to kiss. "Seo-jun?" "Yes? I want to kiss you." "I want that too. But I'm nervous." "So am I." She reached up and touched his cheek. His skin was warm and slightly rough. He leaned into the touch with a soft sigh. "You're sure?" she asked. "I'm sure." She rose on her toes and kissed him gently. Their lips met soft and careful. No rush, no pressure, just the simple sweetness of connection after isolation. When they broke apart, Seo-jun rested his forehead against hers. "That was worth waiting for," he said. "Was it everything you hoped?" "It was everything I'd forgotten to hope for." They held each other quietly in the doorway. Beyond the windows, Seoul sparkled with millions of lights. Somewhere in that vast city was their future home, their new life, their chance at ordinary happiness. "I love you," Seo-jun said quietly. "I love you too, even though I'm dangerous, even though you're gentle." He laughed, a sound of pure joy. "I'll try to be both, gentle with you and dangerous to anyone who threatens our family." Our family. Our family. 3 weeks later, they moved into the house with the walled garden. It needed work, paint, new fixtures, a swing set for the backyard, but it was theirs. EJ claimed the room overlooking the garden. Alma and Seo-jun shared the master bedroom with its wide windows and morning light. They painted walls together, planted herbs in small pots, hung pictures that EJ had drawn of their new family. Damon visited weekly, bringing security updates that grew progressively more boring. No threats, no unusual activity, no reason for concern. "Boring is good," he said one Thursday evening. "Boring is perfect," Alma agreed. Madame Choi came for dinner every Sunday. She taught EJ traditional recipes and listened patiently to his increasingly elaborate stories. "He talks constantly now," Alma told Seo-jun one night. "Making up for lost time, are you?" Every day. 6 months after the hotel, autumn painted Seoul in gold and red. The walled garden was full of chrysanthemums and late-blooming roses. EJ's swing hung from the old cherry tree. They sat on the back porch watching him play. His laughter echoed off the garden walls, pure and joyful and completely safe. "Do you miss it?" Alma asked. "The hotel, the power, the fear?" "I miss the certainty, but I don't miss the loneliness." "No regrets, only that it took me so long to find you." EJ ran over with a handful of leaves he'd arranged into a pattern. A house, a garden, 3 stick figures holding hands. "That's us," he said proudly. "It's perfect," Alma said. Seo-jun pulled them both closer. His arms were strong and warm and completely gentle. "I want to ask you something," he said to Alma. "What?" "Marry me." The words were simple and direct. No drama, no elaborate proposal. Just an honest question from a man who'd learned to value honesty above all else. "Yes," Alma said. "Yes, of course." EJ cheered and threw his leaf pattern into the air. Golden pieces rained down around them like confetti. "When?" he asked. "Soon," Seo-jun said. "As soon as we can arrange it properly." "Can Madame Choi come?" "Of course." "And Damien?" "If he wants to." "Can I carry the rings?" "You can carry the rings." EJ danced around the garden, singing a song he'd made up about weddings and families and houses with gardens. "Are you happy?" Seo-jun asked Alma. "Completely, are you?" "I didn't know I could be this happy." The sun set behind the garden wall, painting everything in warm light. Somewhere in the distance, Seoul hummed with its endless energy. But here, in their small sanctuary, everything was quiet and perfect and exactly as it should be. "I love you," Alma said. "I love you too." EJ ran back to them and climbed into Seo-jun's lap. His small body was warm and solid and trusting. "Tell us a story," he said. "What kind of story?" "A true one. About us." Seo-jun smiled and pulled Alma closer. Their small family was complete on the porch as twilight settled over their garden. "Once upon a time," he began, "there was a woman and her son who crashed into a hotel during a blackout, and the man who lived there learned that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is let yourself love someone." His voice was gentle and sure. The story he told was their story. Her tale of broken people finding wholeness, of protection becoming partnership, of fear transforming into trust. When he finished, EJ was nearly asleep in his arms. Alma's head rested on his shoulder. The garden was full of soft shadows and the promise of tomorrow. "And they lived happily ever after?" EJ whispered. "They lived happily right now," Seo-jun said, "which is even better." The little boy smiled and closed his eyes. Around them, the garden settled into peaceful quiet. Seoul glittered beyond the walls, but inside their sanctuary everything was exactly where it belonged. 3 hearts beating in gentle rhythm. A family built from choice and care and the courage to try again after loss. They were finally home.